Meet the new Harry, Hermione, and Ron in the brand new Harry Potter series from HBO. After years of rumors and speculation, the cast is finally revealed, and fans are buzzing about the fresh faces stepping into these iconic roles. But this isn't just a simple reboot. This series promises a darker, deeper dive into the wizarding world like never before. Let's take a closer look at who's playing our favorite trio, and what this means for the future of Harry Potter. After months of global speculation, HBO has finally revealed the new faces of Harry Potter, Hermione Granger and Ron Weasley, and the casting decision has taken fans by surprise. Rather than opting for familiar faces or young breakout stars, the studio has chosen 3 newcomers: Dominic McLaughlin as Harry Potter, Arabella Stanton as Hermione, and Alastair Stout as Ron. Each actor is relatively unknown, which many see as a bold move, and exactly the right one. This fresh slate gives the series room to redefine the characters without the weight of prior fan expectations or celebrity baggage. The selection followed a highly competitive audition process, with over 30,000 hopefuls vying for a chance to become part of the Wizarding World legacy. According to insiders, casting directors were less focused on physical resemblance to the original movie cast and more on emotional authenticity. They wanted actors who could bring the characters to life in ways that felt raw, nuanced, and real. Dominic reportedly impressed the team with his intense screen presence and haunted vulnerability, essential traits for portraying Harry's traumatic upbringing and his connection to darker magical forces. Arabella, meanwhile, is said to have nailed Hermione's fierce intelligence and quiet determination in her very first read. As for Alastair, his dry humor and awkward charisma made him an instant fit for Ron. While the casting has sparked excitement across social media, some longtime fans are hesitant. Can these newcomers measure up to the original trio? That's the question everyone's asking. But HBO seems confident, not just in their talent, but in the show's fresh vision. And if you think casting the trio was tough, wait until you hear who's playing Dumbledore and Snape. This isn't just a reboot, it's a reinvention. According to HBO, the new Harry Potter series will be a decade-long project, with each season dedicated to a single book. That means 7 seasons, each unpacking the full depth of J.K. Rowling's original novels in a way the films never could. For fans who've always wanted to see the House Elf Rebellion, the full complexity of Tom Riddle's backstory, or the true horror of Dolores Umbridge's reign, this series could finally deliver. What makes this adaptation different from the movies? Time. Instead of condensing hundreds of pages into a 2-hour film, HBO will stretch out each book across a full season. That means more time for character development, more details from the books, and less reliance on fast-paced plot summaries. It's a dream come true for fans who grew up analyzing every chapter of the series. And for newcomers, it's a chance to experience the full story as it was originally intended. And yes, J.K. Rowling is involved, but only as an executive producer. That means she'll provide input on major creative decisions, but she won't be writing scripts or directing episodes. Still, her presence has sparked heated debate, given her ongoing controversies. But more on that later. The show will be helmed by Francesca Gardner, a writer from Succession and His Dark Materials, with Mark Mylod, known for Game of Thrones and The Menu, directing the pilot. It's a creative team with serious prestige and experience handling dark, morally complex stories. If you thought a faithful adaptation was impossible, think again. But as the vision gets bolder, the stakes get higher, and not everyone is thrilled with the direction things are going. Up next, the castings that have fans completely divided. As much as the spotlight is on a new trio, the supporting cast might be what truly defines his reboot. HBO hasn't held back on talent. Taking on the role of Albus Dumbledore is none other than John Lithgow, an unexpected but compelling choice. Known for his range and gravitas, Lithgow brings both wisdom and quiet menace, which could hint at a Dumbledore portrayal closer to the morally gray figure seen in the later books. Janet McTeer, a 2-time Olivier Award winner, will play Professor McGonagall. She's described as bringing both elegance and steel to the role, perfect for the no-nonsense transfiguration teacher who becomes a central figure in the resistance against Voldemort. But perhaps the most eyebrow-raising casting of all, Paapa Essiedu as Severus Snape. Fans are split. While some are thrilled at the fresh take, Others argue that Snape's iconic look and brooding tone are too deeply rooted in the late Alan Rickman's performance to be reinterpreted. Nick Frost brings his comedic charm to Hagrid, a role that's always walked a line between heartwarming and tragic. Luke Thallin will take on Professor Quirrell, while veteran actor Paul Whitehouse has been cast as the grumpy caretaker Argus Filch. Each of these choices reflects a clear vision, actors who can balance humor, darkness, and emotional depth. Behind the scenes, the creative team is no less stacked. Showrunner Francesca Gardner, known for handling complex narratives in his Dark Materials and Killing Eve, promises a tone that's darker, richer, and more character-focused. Director Mark Mylod, fresh off Succession, is set to direct key episodes, bringing HBO's signature cinematic realism to a world of fantasy. But even with this powerhouse lineup, not everyone is convinced, and controversy wasn't far behind. You knew it was coming. The moment HBO dropped a new cast list, the internet split into two camps, those cheering for a bold, modern update, and those crying betrayal. The biggest lightning rod? Paapa Essiedu as Severus Snape. While many praised the casting for its talent-first approach, others took issue with the change in appearance and tone from Alan Rickman's iconic portrayal. Critics claimed the move was too far removed from the Snape they imagined, but supporters pushed back, calling the backlash coded and highlighting that Snape's essence lies in his complexity, not his complexion. It's not just Snape stirring debate. Some fans were upset that the young leads were unknowns, arguing that such major roles should go to established young actors. Others applauded the move, saying a clean slate was exactly what the franchise needed to shed the long shadow of the original films. In other words, the show's casting strategy is dividing the fan base, and that might be exactly what HBO expected. Then there's the broader issue of fan entitlement. For a generation who grew up on the books and the Warner Brothers films, these characters aren't just fictional, they're personal. Any deviation, even in tone or costume, feels like a disruption. But it's also a reminder this isn't a sequel or a spin-off, it's a reimagining. And reimaginings come with risk. Still, backlash often breeds curiosity. Even those fuming on forums are likely to tune in, if only to see what all the fuss is about. But if the casting sparked controversy, the show's connection to one specific person added gasoline to the fire. If there's one name that casts a longer shadow over this reboot than even Voldemort, it's J.K. Rowling. Her presence in the new HBO series as an executive producer has reignited old tensions and sparked fresh waves of controversy. For some, Rowling is still the brilliant author who built a magical world that defined their childhood. For others, she's become a divisive figure whose public comments have alienated a large part of the fandom. HBO has tried to walk a fine line. They've made it clear Rowling won't be writing the scripts or involved in daily production. Instead, her role is advisory, mainly to ensure the show stays aligned with the original lore. But for many fans, even that limited involvement is too much. Hashtags calling for boycotts resurface within hours of the casting news, and several prominent content creators in the Potter community have already vowed not to support the show publicly. Behind the scenes, insiders suggest the network is treading carefully. They're banking on the idea that Rowling's creative input can preserve the essence of the story, while the new cast and crew push the franchise forward with a fresh, inclusive tone. But it's a balancing act, and the backlash could deepen depending on how publicly involved she becomes as the show gains momentum. Still, controversy drives clicks, and curiosity often trumps outrage. Even among those who have distanced themselves from Rowling, there's a lingering question. How will this new version of her world look, feel, and speak in 2025? The Rowling dilemma may hang over the series like a storm cloud, but for now, HBO is charging ahead. And in the middle of this cultural firestorm, one massive question remains. How dark is this reboot really going to get? This isn't the whimsical Hogwarts of 2001. HBO's new series promises to lean heavily into the darker side of the wizarding world, peeling back the polished charm to reveal the trauma, politics, and raw power struggles that shaped Harry Potter's story. And judging by the early descriptions, this version won't hold back. Sources say the tone will fall somewhere between his Dark Materials and early Game of Thrones, grounded, character-driven, and emotionally complex. Gone are the glossy CGI spells and squeaky clean common rooms. In their place, Dirt under fingernails, blood in the snow, and a Hogwarts where danger isn't just hinted at, it's felt. Every spell has weight, every decision has consequences, and every corner of the castle holds secrets the movies never showed. Fans can expect deeper dives into storylines often glossed over in the films, like the abuse Harry suffered at the Dursleys, the class and race tensions within the wizarding world, and the full scope of Voldemort's terror. Even side characters are getting expanded arcs, including Lupin's backstory, the full rise of the Order of the Phoenix, and the complexities of Dumbledore's past. It's a more mature take, not just in tone, but in its willingness to explore trauma, identity, and corruption. HBO is reportedly pushing for truthful magic, meaning that spells, curses, and magical creatures will be presented with real consequences, not just spectacle. Think less theme park and more folklore horror. Some fans are thrilled. Others are worried it'll be too grim. But either way, this isn't Harry Potter for kids anymore. And if you're wondering when all this is set to arrive, there's finally a timeline, but it comes with one major catch. So, when does the magic begin? According to HBO, the new Harry Potter series is currently scheduled to premiere in 2026, but that date isn't exactly set in stone. While early development is underway and casting is complete, full-scale production hasn't begun yet, and with a show of this scale, involving heavy CGI, international location, and child actors, delays are almost guaranteed. HBO is playing a long game. They're building a 7-season epic, not a quick cash grab. Each season is planned to adapt a single book, meaning writers and directors are meticulously pacing each installment to do justice to the original material. But this also means longer timelines between seasons. Think House of the Dragon or The Last of Us high quality, but slow burn releases. One complication? The show is filming in the UK under strict labor and school hour regulations for minors. That limits how many hours a young cast can work per day, stretching production schedules significantly. And then there's post-production. With HBO promising a visually stunning wizarding world, expect months of VFX work, creature design, and score composition before any episode hits screens. Insiders have also hinted that HBO is planning for a multi-phase rollout, with teasers, behind-the-scenes looks, and fan events leading up to the premiere. In short, the wait will be long, but the marketing machine will keep Potter fans engaged. Still, some wonder, by the time the first season drops, will audiences still care? Or will Potter fatigue and cultural shifts make this reboot feel out of step? That leads us to one final question. What does this new series mean for the legacy of Harry Potter? And can it truly redefine the magic for a new generation? The HBO Harry Potter series isn't just another show. It's an attempt to reshape one of the most beloved stories of a generation. With fresh faces, a darker tone, and a sprawling narrative scope, it promises to take fans back to Hogwarts like never before. But can it really live up to that promise? The reboot faces massive challenges. It has to balance honoring decades of fan devotion while appealing to today's audiences who expect inclusivity, complexity, and nuance. J.K. Rowling's continued involvement adds a complicated layer, creating tension between legacy and progress. The darker tone risks alienating younger viewers, but could also bring a much-needed depth to the story. Yet, this gamble could pay off big. HBO has the resources and talent to deliver a visually stunning, emotionally rich series that expands on Potter's world rather than retreading old ground. It's a chance to explore characters and themes that the films only skimmed, and to tell stories about identity, power, and sacrifice with fresh eyes. Most importantly, it invites a new generation to experience the magic, not through nostalgia, but through a bold, contemporary lens. For fans still skeptical, this reboot could either be a welcome revival or a painful reminder of what was lost. Only time will tell if the series will be remembered as a masterpiece or a misstep. But one thing is certain. The wizarding world is about to enter a new chapter, and the stakes have never been higher. So, will you be watching when HBO's Harry Potter hits screens? Or is the magic already fading? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the new HBO Harry Potter series, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Until next time, stay magical